The thought of World War III is enough to make anyone uneasy. But have you ever stopped to think, how would it hit your wallet? Wars don't just reshape nations, they reshape economies, investments, and the way you live day to day. From skyrocketing inflation to job losses, and even the collapse of entire industries, the ripple effects are massive. But here's the big question. How can you prepare for financial storms in times of global chaos? Stay tuned, because today we're diving deep into how World War III could impact your finances and the steps you can take to protect yourself. Let's get started. Stock markets and investments, the financial battlefield. Let's talk about one of the biggest areas that's going to feel the heat in the event of a World War III, the stock market. Buckle up, because this ride could get wild. First up, expect extreme volatility. When global tensions rise, investors panic and markets turn into a roller coaster, except it's not the fun kind. Stocks will plummet as fear grips the market, wiping out trillions in a matter of days. But here's the kicker. It's not all doom and gloom. While most sectors take a hit, there are always winners in the chaos. Think defense companies, energy giants, and cybersecurity stocks. These industries boom when governments ramp up military spending. And let's not forget about safe haven assets like gold. When uncertainty is through the roof, investors flock to gold like it's the only life raft on a sinking ship. Precious metals and even cryptocurrencies could see their value shoot up. But here's the thing you have to remember. This isn't the time to panic sell your investments. Markets are emotional during crises, but history has shown that over time they recover. If you're investing long-term, this could even be a chance to scoop up quality stocks at bargain prices. The key here is strategy. Diversify your portfolio, keep some cash handy, and focus on industries that thrive in uncertain times. Oh, and maybe brush up on your gold buying skills. All right, that's your stock market survival guide for when the world goes haywire. But what about your day-to-day expenses? Let's talk inflation, gas prices, and what you can do to stay ahead. Inflation and cost of living. All right, let's get real. If World War III becomes a reality, your cost of living isn't just going to rise, it's going to skyrocket. Inflation is about to become your worst enemy. Let me break it down for you. First off, let's talk about energy prices. Wars have a nasty habit of disrupting oil supplies. Think pipelines, trade routes, and production hubs getting caught in the crossfire. And you know what that means? Fuel prices through the roof. Every time you fill up your tank, it's going to feel like you're fueling a private jet. But wait, it's not just gas. High energy costs ripple into everything. Transporting goods gets more expensive, which means your groceries, boom, prices double. That morning coffee you can't live without? Say hello to a $10 latte. Oh, and heating your home in the winter? Better start saving now. But here's the wild part. It's not just about what you pay. Your dollar is going to lose value. Inflation eats away at your purchasing power, meaning the money in your pocket buys less and less. It's like running on a treadmill that's speeding up while you're getting tired. So, what can you do? Well, for starters, think about stocking up on essentials now. Non-perishables, household items, stuff you'll need no matter what. And consider budgeting for higher costs because trust me, it's better to prepare than to panic. Another smart move? Look into inflation-proof investments. Assets like real estate, commodities, or inflation-indexed bonds can help protect your money when the value of cash drops. The key is to stay ahead of the game. Wars wreak havoc on everyday life, but with a little planning, you can ride the storm instead of getting swept away. And hey, don't worry, I've got more tips coming up for you. Employment and income. All right, let's talk about your paycheck. Because let's be honest, when the world is in chaos, your job might not be as secure as you think. In a World War III scenario, entire industries could collapse overnight. Businesses that rely on global trade, they're going to feel the squeeze hard. Think airlines, luxury goods, tourism, even tech companies could struggle with supply chain disruptions. But here's the flip side. Some industries will absolutely boom. Military production? Defense contractors will be hiring like crazy. Energy companies, cybersecurity, even healthcare? They'll need workers to meet the exploding demand. So what does this mean for you? It's time to future-proof your career. Ask yourself, is your job recession-proof? Is it in an industry that can thrive during uncertainty? If not, now's the time to start exploring skills that are in high demand. Here's the good news. You don't have to start from scratch. Upskilling is easier than ever. Learn cybersecurity, get certified in project management, or dive into renewable energy. These are the kinds of roles that governments and companies will be investing in big time. And if you're worried about layoffs, now's the time to build an emergency fund. Having 3 to 6 months of living expenses saved can be your lifeline if the worst happens. Oh, and don't forget, if you lose a job, there are often government programs or benefits during wartime to help you get back on your feet. The key here is preparation, not panic. The job market may change, but if you stay flexible, adaptable, and focused on high-demand skills, you'll be one step ahead of the game. Debt and government policies. All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty. Debt and government policies. These two could either make or break your finances during a global crisis like World War III. Here's the deal. Wars cost trillions. And guess who foots the bill? That's right, us. Governments ramp up spending for military efforts, and to pay for it, they're likely to raise taxes or borrow heavily. Either way, you feel the pinch. Let's start with taxes. You might see higher income taxes, property taxes, or even new taxes on things like fuel and luxury goods. If you're already living paycheck to paycheck, this could feel like adding salt to the wound. And then there's debt. If you're already juggling credit card balances, student loans, or car payments, a financial crisis could make it harder to keep up. Interest rates might skyrocket as governments borrow money to fund the war effort, making your existing debt even more expensive to pay off. So, how do you stay ahead? Step 1. Start paying off high-interest debt now. Credit card debt, payday loans, these are like ticking time bombs in a financial crisis. Get rid of them before they blow up your budget. Step 2. Avoid taking on new debt unless it's absolutely necessary. That shiny new car or the kitchen remodel? It can wait. Focus on keeping your financial obligations as light as possible. And here's where government policies might actually help. In times of crisis, governments often introduce programs to cushion the blow. Things like debt relief, subsidies, or even low-interest loans for struggling families and businesses. Make sure you're keeping an eye on what's available, because these programs could be a lifesaver. The key takeaway? Don't ignore your debt. Use this time to tighten your budget, pay off what you can, and keep some cash handy for unexpected expenses. And remember, staying informed about government programs could give you the support you need to weather the storm. Stick with me because next, we're talking about creating an unshakable financial safety net. You won't want to miss this one. Savings and emergency planning. All right, folks, let's talk about something that's going to be your lifeline in any financial storm, savings and emergency planning. Because when the world feels like it's falling apart, having a financial safety net is the difference between surviving and thriving. Here's the golden rule. Cash is king. When chaos hits, you need liquid money. Money you can access instantly, not investments tied up in the market or assets that take time to sell. So let's build that emergency fund. First, aim for at least 3 to 6 months of living expenses. Think rent, groceries, utilities, everything you need to keep the lights on and food on the table. This isn't about saving for a vacation. This is your crisis cushion. Now I know what you're thinking. 3 to 6 months? That feels impossible. But don't stress. Start small. Even $500 or $1,000 can make a huge difference in an emergency. Step 2. Automate your savings. Set up a separate account just for emergencies and make it hard to touch, like really hard. Every paycheck, move a little into that account automatically. You'll be surprised how quickly it adds up when you're not constantly tempted to dip into it. Step 3. Cut unnecessary spending, at least for now. You don't have to give up everything you love, but maybe skip the daily $7 latte or hold off on those impulse Amazon buys. Funnel that money straight into your emergency fund instead. Now, let's talk about planning for the unexpected. Think beyond just cash. What happens if you lose your job? Make a list of your must-have expenses and have a backup plan for cutting costs quickly. Rent, food, insurance. Know what you can trim if times get tough. And don't forget about insurance, health, home, car. Make sure you're covered. In a crisis, the last thing you want is a massive bill wiping out all your savings. Check your policies and fill in any gaps now. The bottom line? A little planning now saves you from a lot of stress later. Start building that emergency fund, automate your savings, and get your plan in place. Because trust me, future you will thank present you for being so on top of it. Long-term economic impacts. All right, let's zoom out for a second. We've talked about the immediate chaos, but what about the long term? What happens to the economy and your financial future after a global conflict like World War III? Historically, wars leave the global economy in shambles, but they also spark some of the biggest transformations. Think about it. Massive reconstruction efforts, new technologies, and shifts in global power can completely reshape the world as we know it. Here's the silver lining. After the destruction comes rebuilding. Governments and private companies pour trillions into reconstruction, rebuilding cities, infrastructure, and economies. This creates jobs and opportunities like crazy. And guess what? If you're in industries like engineering, construction, renewable energy, or even tech, you could be stepping into one of the biggest job booms in history. Another thing to watch for? Technological breakthroughs. Wars accelerate innovation because governments invest heavily in things like military tech, renewable energy, and advanced medicine. After the dust settles, these technologies often trickle down into everyday life, sparking entirely new industries. Think about it. Radar, the internet, GPS. All of these came from military investments. World War III could be the catalyst for the next big thing. And if you position yourself right, you could ride that wave. But let's talk about the big picture. Global power shifts. Wars don't just change borders, they change who holds the economic reins. A World War III scenario could see emerging markets take center stage, while traditional powers lose ground. This means new trade agreements, new financial hubs, and lots of opportunity for businesses that can adapt to the new world order. If you're an entrepreneur, this could be your chance to tap into growing markets. But, and this is a big but, don't think it's all sunshine and rainbows. Wars leave mountains of debt in their wake. Governments spend beyond their means, which often leads to higher taxes and slower economic growth for decades. For you, this might mean a higher cost of living and a longer road to financial stability. It's why planning for the long game is so important. Focus on investments that can weather inflation and economic shifts. Here's the bottom line. After a global crisis like World War III, the world will change. But so will the opportunities. Your job is to adapt, look for growth industries, and position yourself to thrive in a new economic reality. So while the idea of World War III is terrifying, remember this: humans are resilient, and so is the global economy. After the storm comes the chance to rebuild, and if you stay informed and proactive, you'll be ready to grab your piece of the future. All right, we've covered a lot today, from the immediate chaos to the long-term impacts of World War III on your finances. Let's hit the highlights so you're walking away with a crystal-clear game plan. Yes, the markets will get crazy, but don't panic. Focus on diversification and keep an eye on safe haven assets like gold and booming industries like defense and energy. Expect prices to skyrocket, especially for fuel, food, and essentials. Plan ahead, cut unnecessary spending, and stock up on the things you'll need most. Jobs in global trade or luxury sectors might take a hit, but industries like defense, cybersecurity, and healthcare will boom. Upskill now to future-proof your career. Avoid taking on new debt, pay down what you owe, and stay informed about government relief programs. They could be a financial lifeline. Build your emergency fund ASAP, automate your savings, cut back on non-essentials, and make sure you're ready for the unexpected. After the dust settles, there will be opportunities for growth and innovation. The world will change, and if you stay flexible and focused, you'll be ready to thrive in the new economic landscape. The bottom line? World War III would change everything. But with the right mindset, preparation, and action, you can protect your finances and even find opportunities to grow. Remember, the key is to stay informed, stay calm, and always think ahead. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear this. And drop a comment below. What's your #1 financial priority in uncertain times? Let's start a conversation. Thanks for watching, and remember, no matter what happens, you've got this. See you in the next one.